Hello, good morning, and thank you for choosing Fox 10 News on this beautiful Saturday morning. I am Gianni Navarro. It's a bit chilly out there, but let's check in with meteorologist Jennifer Lambers to see if we'll be heating up a little bit throughout the day. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning, Gianni. Yes, luckily we are going to be seeing warmer temperatures by the time that we make it further on into your afternoon. Let's go ahead and look at radar right now regionally across the southeast. A lot of activity further off towards our west. We're starting to see some of those clouds over Mississippi and then Louisiana moving out of Texas, starting to see some of those rain showers. Luckily, we're not going to be seeing those for your Saturday, even your Sunday too. We're just going to be seeing some of these mix of clouds, but mostly sunny skies. Right now, radar looking locally. We're quiet right now, just starting to see some of those clouds moving on through. High clouds too, but it will be a beautiful day across the Gulf Coast despite all of those. Also, it's going to help to warm us up. But starting off for your Saturday morning, it was chilly right before sunrise. We did see most of today's lows, and so Evergreen dropping down to 35, Pensacola 46, and then Mobile even at 37 to start off for your morning. Well below average normally in the lower 50s, but don't worry, by the time we make it further on into the week, we're going to be above average for our overnight lows and also our daytime highs. But for our full 24-hour planner for today, we're going to be seeing those 60s for our afternoon temperatures. It's going to be great weather to spend it outside. In case you have any outdoor plans, they're looking up. Now heading further on to the evening, those clear skies that we're seeing going to be dropping us down once again. We're going to be seeing those mid 40s overnight. So not as cold, but still a chilly Saturday night ahead of us. But coming up, I'll have a full look at what you can expect for your Saturday and your Easter forecast too. Gianni.
Jennifer, thank you. Well, already on heightened alert, an incident at the U.S. Capitol prompted a lockdown. The investigation is underway, but we are learning more about the officer who was killed and an armed suspect who was dead. Karen Kafa has the latest from Washington.
The suspect who rammed his car into a barricade outside the U.S. Capitol this afternoon has been identified by federal and local law enforcement sources as a 25-year-old Noah Green. And in recent weeks, he posted on social media about losing a job, about medical ailments, and about a belief that federal agencies were subjecting him to mind control. One U.S. Capitol police officer is dead and another is injured after an incident near the U.S. Capitol Friday.
We lost a family member today. Someone who showed up at work today to protect the Capitol, to protect the people working at the Capitol.
Officer William Billy Evans, an 18-year veteran of the Capitol Police, killed in the line of duty during an incident that locked down the Capitol complex. Officers responded to reports of a driver ramming a vehicle into two Capitol Police officers and a barricade on Constitution Avenue. U.S. Capitol Police said the driver exited the car brandishing a knife. The suspect, who is dead, was identified by federal and local law enforcement sources as Noah Green. Congress is not in session this week, and few lawmakers are working in the Capitol complex. Congressman Ro Khanna of California had just stepped out of his office when it all transpired.
When I came back, I had frantic calls from someone on my staff saying, get away, there's an incident. And honestly, it did bring back memories of January 6th.
The scene with the insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th still fresh in lawmakers, officers, and Americans' minds.
This has been an extremely difficult time for U.S. Capitol Police after the events of January 6th and now the events that have occurred here today. So I ask that you keep our U.S. Capitol Police family in your thoughts and prayers.
And in a tweet this evening, the U.S. Capitol Police said the second officer who responded to today's incident is in stable, non-threatening condition. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and President Biden have ordered flags to be lowered to half-staff at the U.S. Capitol and the White House, respectively, in honor of Officer Evans. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
And Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville reacted to yesterday's attack at the Capitol, saying, quote, "Today is a sad day. We lost one of our own. I send my deepest condolences to the family of USCP officer William Billy Evans, praying for a speedy recovery of the second officer and for peace and comfort for Officer Evans' loved ones in this difficult time," end quote. And Congressman Carl says he's sending his thoughts and prayers to the family of the officer killed and the other officer officer who was injured. Of course, this comes at a time when security remains heightened following the Capitol insurrection back on January 6th. Congressman Carl says he believes the police officers did exactly what they were trained to do to stop the threat.
I mean, they stopped it. In my opinion, it definitely was as someone that has some mental disorders and/or, suicide by cop. Because if you've been around there at any time, those still girls that pop up and they stay up. You're not going to run a car. You're not going to run a truck over them. And then to get out with a knife and approach those Capitol policemen is just. Those are the type things that they're set up for and how they well, and it worked well today. Unfortunately, we obviously have an officer dead and an officer that's wounded. That's the bad part. But the security side, it did exactly what it was supposed to do.
And at this time, Congressman Carl says they are awaiting more information on what motivated the suspect to act. And like Capitol Police says, this does not appear to be terrorism related. And a judge on Friday setting a bail of $82,500 for an Irvington man arrested after a standoff with law enforcement officers. James Caballero facing charges of strangulation, domestic violence, burglary, and interfering with a 911 call. All this stemming from an incident a week ago in which Caballero is accused of going into his ex-wife's house and assaulting her. Authorities also say he took the woman's cell phone to prevent her from calling for help. Deputies started looking for Caballero on Wednesday when his 2 children were reported missing. The children were with him during Thursday's standoff, but he doesn't face any criminal charges related to taking his 2 young children. Captain Paul Birch of the Mobile County Sheriff's Office says that's because Caballero hadn't been served with paperwork telling him a judge had ordered authorities to take custody of the children. Birch also says Caballero wasn't armed when deputies arrested him, but he'll have to surrender any weapons he does have as a condition of his bond. Caballero is now also facing new child custody issue. A judge in 2017 awarded him primary custody of 3 children when he divorced his previous wife. Now that woman asking a judge to modify that order in light of Caballero's arrest. And if you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, call Penelope House at the number on your screen. They offer housing and emergency hotlines. You can also call the Lighthouse in Baldwin County. They take calls 24 hours a day. We also have these numbers on our website, fox10tv.com. And Mobile police are looking for the person who stabbed a man. It happened around 7 in the evening yesterday at a gas station on Spring Hill. The victim taken to University Hospital. MPD telling us his injury is not life-threatening. And Baldwin County Sheriff Haas Mack and others being sued in the deaths of a father and son who were killed during an interstate chase which ended in a fiery crash. 2 years ago, Loxley police officer Stephen Bailey, also named in the suit, attempted to pull a car over on a traffic violation on I-10. The driver refused to stop and started driving onto oncoming traffic to get away. Instead, the driver slammed head-on into the father and son's car. Family members of the victims allege recklessness and indifference on the part of Mack and Bailey. They say Bailey had time to terminate the chase. Mack was his supervisor at the time.
Every Alabamian 16 years of age and older will be able to receive the vaccine starting Monday, April 5th.
Alabama opening up its COVID vaccination eligibility, but depending on your age, you may have to roll up your sleeve for a specific brand of shot. Students on both sides of the Bay are off for spring break, and when they return, Alabama's mask mandate will be lifted. 2 public school systems in our area going in 2 very different directions. Mobile County Public Schools Superintendent Treshel Threadgills telling his parents and staff masks will still be required when students get back from spring break. In an email he sent out, he wrote, quote, "We are successfully made it close to the end of the year, very tough year, and I'm determined for us to end the year on a positive note. Therefore, Mobile County Public Schools will continue requiring all employees and students grades 2 through 12 to wear masks while at school, work, and or any school-sponsored function or event," end quote. Thursday, Baldwin County Public Schools Superintendent Eddie Tyler telling his parents and staff they're going in the opposite direction after spring break, saying, quote, "We will be following Governor Ivey's directives to accept more personal responsibility over government mandates. While we will not be requiring masks, masks will certainly be allowed to be worn by students and employees who choose to do so," end quote. Tyler pointing to their COVID-19 cases as being in the single digits for several weeks in the school system, but he adds they will still sanitize and socially distance when possible.